All right, taking the tough questions today and trying to defend that comment by his party's leader, Arvind Kejriwal, will be Raghav Chadha of the Aam Aadmi Party. Political editor of Caravan magazine, Hartosh Singh Bal, is joining us live from Delhi. Congress's spokesperson, Sanjay Jha, is with us from Mumbai. Dr. Deepika Sharma, spokesperson of the Delhi unit of the BJP, is live with us. And R. Rajgopalan, senior journalist, live with us in our studio. Raghav Chadha, I want to ask you first, isn't this a clear violation of the Model Code of Conduct?
Well, Padmaja, it's not the first time that Mr. Kejriwal has made this statement, but I can understand the newfound love of times now to debate this. So now if you're debating this, I am extremely comfortable in taking on all the questions that you have. Now let me clarify this first, that Mr. Kejriwal... So
if you keep making the same mistake again and again, does it become okay?
Precisely said this, that it's not a mistake. It is exposing the electoral malpractice that is prevalent in India. Please do not give this a color of an offense or a mistake. Please understand what he has said. He has said
if
that
Kejriwal does, it is not an offense. If Kejriwal does, it is not an offense. When others do, then
allow me to speak, sir. Allow me to speak. Please, let's have a civil debate. Please have a civil debate.
No, it is a civil debate. You started with different note.
Please understand.
You started with a different note.
The politician. Padmaja, I can only talk when this cacophony stops.
Okay, Raghav Chadha, let me quote to you another example.
For a few seconds. Allow me to complete
Mr. Nitin Gadkari had told voters in the Nilenga Assembly constituency of Latur district on the 5th of October, do not say no to Lakshmi. You have the opportunity of Lakshmi Darshan in the next 20 days. Special people to get foreign made, ordinary people to get local brand. And this was deemed an offence by the Election Commission, a violation of the Model Code of Conduct. Considering that your party chief has made a similar remark, the same remark in fact, isn't this also a violation of the Model Code of Conduct? And you, the Aam Aadmi Party, had protested the loudest when Nitin Gadkari made that comment.
Audio is not clear.
Okay, now please allow me to complete. There's a difference between what Mr. Kejriwal has said and what Mr. Gadkari said back then. Mr. Kejriwal is essentially saying that the politicians, particularly from the BJP and the Congress, dole out freebies, give cash, liquor, shawls, blankets, etc. Barring alcohol, all other freebies and cash can be accepted by the voters primarily because of the following two reasons. Reason number one, this comes out of illicit, unaccounted black money that these politicians possess, and it is essentially the people's money, so they have every right over it. Question number two, once you accept this and do not cast your vote in their favor, they will feel that this this activity or this act of investment is not bringing benefits, and
it's an endorsement of political bribery. Sanjay Jha, do you buy the argument being given by the Aam Aadmi Party that this was actually an expose of sorts of what actually is going on in politics?
Corruption. Aam Aadmi Party is encouraging corruption.
It would have been bribery when Mr. Kejriwal would have said...
Aam Aadmi Party is encouraging corruption.
Yes, Sanjay Jha's response.
You come and vote for me. He never said that. Can you please stop, Mr. Rajagopalan?
Mr. Chadha, Mr. Chadha, just one point. If you
why is he encouraging corruption? Is he encouraging corruption?
Mr. Rajgopalan, just a second. Raghav Chadha, I think you've made your point. Let the Congress and BJP respond.
Is he corruption? Is he encouraging corruption?
Accounted money that is with the politicians. This must come out.
Padmaja, the critical point is where the AAP party is concerned.
It is an act of exposing this malpractice.
Okay, so you've made your point. This was meant to be a sort of expose. Yes, Sanjay Jha.
Yeah, Padmaja, the critical point is the Aam Aadmi Party is today fighting for political survival. It is facing an existential crisis, and they acknowledge that. I think they are fully aware of it. I think the fact that you are finding these outrageous statements being made by Mr. Arvind Kejriwal himself is nothing but an attempt to be in the public spotlight, make the entire political system look absolutely discredited while he is holier than thou. I am glad that you showed in your program that one of his own people who won an election in one of the Delhi cantonment was throwing cash up in the air. So that is a manifestation of the kind of duplicity and double standards that the Aam Aadmi Party stands for. And I think the fundamental point here is, and this is a point I asked this question of Mr. Arvind Kejriwal in an event in Mumbai a couple of months ago. I asked him, you are a product of the Lokpal agitation. Isn't it remarkable that after the Congress-led UPA passed the Lokpal bill last year, And it's 8 months since then that you don't say a word on the Lokpal bill being passed, or not the Lokpal bill, but the Lokpal bill being enacted, and the people actually functioning as a Lokpal. Where is the Lokpal today? And the fact is that Mr. Kejriwal just ducked the answer. The BJP has not implemented the Lokpal.
But the point also is, and I want to get in the BJP. I also want to get in the BJP now.
Both these parties represent political hypocrisy of the highest order.
The kind of outrage reactions we're getting from the BJP isn't it a little duplicitous, considering that your former party president Nitin Gadkari said exactly the same thing ahead of the assembly elections in Maharashtra? Why are you so outraged about what Arvind Kejriwal has said today, Dr. Deepika Sharma?
Padamja, a party which came on the plank of anti-corruption and which thinks that it is holier than thou than any other person or party in the entire world, openly goes out to speak these such-like statements, considering the electorate of Delhi as completely corrupt.
So it's okay for your party to make such statements because you've not come on an anti-corruption plank?
And that can be bribed upon. Padamja, the issue is this, that this particular party and its leader, the serious issue of governance, that has been completely sidetracked, and their hit and run policy and their policy of making obnoxious statements, so much so that it is not a simple off-the-cuff remark. It is a grievous violation of the Model Code of Conduct. It is a criminal act. And the Aam Aadmi Party spokespeople today have gone to at least 4 channels, and they are shamelessly defending the indefensible. They are shamelessly defending the indefensible today. How can a party?
No, let me answer that, Raghav Chadha. It's actually prima facie amounting to abetting and promoting the electoral offence of bribery within the meaning of Section 177B, read with Section 177E of the IPC. Raghav Chadha.
Now please understand, Padmaja, please understand, an act of bribery is one in which I offer a bribe and solicit the voter or the electorate to come and vote for me. In this statement, Mr. Kejriwal is asking the voters to play smart. He is asking the voters that the Congress and the BJP have duped you for 67 years. It is now your time to dupe them. If they offer any goodies and freebies, you may
and vote for AAP. And vote for AAP.
Waste your vote.
If he says different, then why should he canvass?
For a progressive and an honest party like the Aam Aadmi Party. Now, please, Mr. Rajagopalan, stop this cacophony. It doesn't look nice. It doesn't look nice.
No, it's not. You are not answering the properly, Raghav.
Now, Padmaja,
Raghav, you should answer properly. You went to court, you went to EC on Nitin Gadkari. Why you are not going to this on same subject?
Hold your horses.
You went to EC, you went to Election Commission on Nitin Gadkari. On which subject you went?
Mr. Gadkari also
you have to say that. You have to answer that.
Please understand. So Padmaja, please understand. This is an electoral malpractice. Let me give you some figures. The Election Commission in last December,
you seem to be encouraging that electoral malpractice. Hartosh Singh Bal, I want to get opening comments from you. Do you think any party at all can afford to be holier than thou on this particular issue? Because at different points of time, they have made the same statements, they have engaged in these acts. Can any of their outrage be believable today?
No, I think you are missing the whole point.
All this noise is rather redundant.
We are saying that this electoral
Look, this is typical of the Aam Aadmi Party. They like hearing their own voice over and over again. I keep saying this. The problem is very simple. No party can make too much noise about this. All of them do this. Kejriwal hasn't said anything that anybody doesn't know. But the problem is to say it in this fashion publicly is to end up endorsing this practice. And that is where the problem lies. You may backpedal, you may exercise any defense, but the kind of statement today that Kejriwal has uttered is more or less an endorsement of this practice. This happens, make use of it, but don't cast your votes after accepting it.
Absolutely. And it's as simple as that. You know, you can try and spin it around in 100 different ways, Raghav Chadha, but the fact is it's an electoral malpractice and you're encouraging it. Sanjay Jha also wants to comment before Raghav Chadha has an opportunity to respond. Yes, Sanjay Jha.
You know, Padmaja, you know, what is unfortunate is that it's so disrespectful to the Delhi voter who actually in the last elections gave the Aam Aadmi Party a fairly decent kind of an endorsement. And here you are treating that enlightened voter with such contempt. You know, this kind of a statement being made. I mean, forget the fact that it's an absurd allegation, you know, he does it all the time. But the truth is, this is the Delhi voter who, by the way, across India is considered to be enlightened, someone who lives in the political capital, has a better sense of judgment. And to talk about the Delhi voter in a manner so disrespectful and derogatory, I think by itself is shameful. I think when Mr. Ajay Makan makes a statement that Mr. Kejriwal deserves to apologize to the people of Delhi because his statement is a sweeping generalization, I think Mr. Kejriwal needs to stand up and, you know, actually own up to a very irresponsible statement, whatever his compelling electoral compulsions.
Yo, okay, it was in the heat of the moment. Maybe you got, you know, he must have made, you know, it's off the cuff comment. Do you think at least now you want to take it back, Raghav Chadha?
Padmaja, there is a, you know, a very famous Hindi couplet which goes on like this कि वो कत्ल भी करते हैं तो चर्चा नहीं होती, हम आप भी बढ़ते हैं तो हो जाते हैं बदनाम. We are exposing this malpractice. Mr. Kejriwal, with a pinch of sarcasm, has, you know, essentially made the electorate of Delhi aware of the fact that they will come this time around also.
I want to come here very
goodies,
gently.
With money, with liquor. Barring liquor, you should accept the goodies and but do not sell your vote.
Okay, so your pinch of sarcasm is being met by a gentle rejoinder from Mr. Rajgopal.
Yes. Sarcasm. The Aam Aadmi Party. Now, please understand.
I have been given the floor. Raghav Chadha, I have been asked to speak.
The Congress speaks about
I have been asked to speak.
And corruption.
It is political. What Mr. Kejriwal has spoken is a political. Because what the Kejriwal has done is a politics. He is rattled by Kiran Bedi's entry. He cannot, you know, this cause anarchist comment that is going to have a repercussion on this election. Raghav Chadha, the AAP Army will be drowned in this election because this is an anarchist comment. He cannot speak like this. You take money from others and vote for me. Where is Lokpal? Where is Lokpal? He says Lokpal. Now he says encouraging money. It is encouraging corruption.
No, Raghav Chadha,
why he is encouraging corruption then?
Someone who has built his party
why
and
he
his
is encouraging
career
corruption?
an anti-corruption
Why
plan
should he encourage corruption?
to tell voters,
Why should he come corruption? Why should he speak about corruption?
It's okay. Isn't that
He is
itself
encouraging
leaking of
corruption.
hypocrisy? Dr. Deepika Sharma.
Yes.
You have to admit the hypocrisy, Raghav.
You
Come
asked
on.
a very valid question. I'll answer that. No, I'll answer that. You've asked a very valid question.
Yes, let Dr. Sharma make her point before you answer. Yes, Dr.
There are
Sharma.
2 reasons to this.
Padamja.
Yes, Dr. Sharma.
Padamja. Hello, Padamja. I wish to come in. Padamja.
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
The shameless manner in which they are defending the indefensible, I shudder to think if this is the state before campaigning, before the elections are held, what if they come to power, how they'll tell their officers that you have to take money, and you may take money, but you may not work for them. Is this the ideology? Is this the culture they are propagating? Is this thought process? Why should you be allowed to come along? The only thing you need to do is to apologize to the electorate of Delhi and to India, where your leader openly, a leader from the Indian Revenue Service, that too, is asking voters to take bribe openly. How did you
and Hartosh Singh Bal, do you find the excuse of saying that we actually wanted to expose the electoral malpractice that goes on, that was the only intention, do you find it a little disingenuous?
So Padmaja,
of course it's
I will answer your first
and to believe from the evidence of the last election that the Aam Aadmi Party was somehow exempt from this practice is also false. So for Kejriwal suddenly to assume a posture which separates him from others, claim sarcasm, does not hold out from the evidence that we have already from previous elections. This much is clear. Basically, he may have just said what a lot of people do end up saying, that the voter has now become wiser to the extent, and it is said half facetiously that they take money from everybody and make up their own mind. But the fact is, Kejriwal as one of the candidates as one of the people actually fighting this election, cannot take that facetious position and get away with it. It's as simple as that.
Because your party's plank of anti-corruption is now seeming very facetious, Raghav Chadha.
So Padmaja, yes. So let me first clarify 2 quick points. Number one, the person that you showed in that video who was distributing money, and you said that he's, allegedly a member of the Aam Aadmi Party. He is neither my member, he is neither our candidate, he is neither an office bearer of the Aam Aadmi Party. So let me first clarify that. Question number 2, coming to your question about why doesn't Mr. Kejriwal discourage this activity, there are 2 reasons for this. Number 1, please understand, all this unaccounted illicit money that goes into circulation or which is used for buying these goodies which are distributed to the electorate for soliciting votes is essentially the money of the people. It belongs to the exchequer.
That is
number
not.
one.
Sorry.
And it is another way of reaching the voters. Number two, if the voters of Delhi and if the voters of the country,
simple, Raghav Chadha, it is not that simple.
And do
why
not
you take online money then?
In a manner in
why do you take money online? Why do you take money on dinner meetings?
It will discourage.
It is not as simple as that.
It will discourage.
It is not as simple.
Mr. Rajagopalan, please stop this cacophony.
It is not as simple as that because
I know your prejudices.
Because you are doing this. Because you have to answer the question.
Okay, Raghav Chadha.
Answer the question.
Just a second, Mr. Rajagopalan. Just a second, Mr. Rajagopalan. Just a second.
AAP is having AAP is rattled with Kiran Bedi's existence.
Can you stop this man?
Yes.
Why you are not answering the question properly. You should answer. Why you take money online then?
Okay, just a second.
Why do you take money on dinner?
Raghav, let me ask you a simple question.
Sir,
you know what Mr. Nitin Gadkari said in Maharashtra? Do you think what he said was also justified?
Are completely
and he was also involved in your crusade against this electoral malpractice.
Then why you are asking money
just
from
a second,
the public?
Mr. Rajgopalan.
You take vote from them and vote for me.
Mr. Rajgopalan,
cash from them,
just a
vote
second.
for me. It's for cash for vote.
Let's come to the point, Raghav.
Mr.
You know what Mr. Nitin Gadkari
all of us
said.
know your affiliations. We know where you are coming
Let's
from.
not make this personal, Raghav.
Don't come personal.
Raghav, please.
Don't come
Go
personal.
ask your party how they raise
answer
money.
the question. Why Kejriwal spoke like that?
Tragedy.
Is he encouraging corruption?
From black money hoarders.
Kejriwal is encouraging corruption.
80% of the donations received by the BJP are opaque. So please go and ask the BJP first. Do not come to me. My donations are absolutely transparent. They're on my website for anyone to see.
Okay, so you think there is complete transparency in the kind of funding you get. Let me ask you a direct question. You know what Mr. Nitin Gadkari said ahead of the Maharashtra Assembly elections? Do you agree with what he said? Essentially, he said, Lakshmi आपके घर आ रही है, उसको ना मत कहिएगा, imported माल, देसी माल, सबसे ले लीजिएगा, वोट जो है विकास के लिए कीजिएगा. Going by your logic, actually what he also was trying to do was tell voters that, listen, this is the electoral malpractice by other parties. We are condemning it, but okay, if you have to, take that money, just don't vote for them. Actually, he's on your side, right, Raghav?
Please understand, Padmaja. No, Padmaja, please understand, Mr. Kejriwal, with a pinch of sarcasm and with the element of ridiculing this electoral malpractice, has essentially...
No, why is it when Mr. Gadkari does it, it's an outrage? When Kejriwal does it, Mr. Kejriwal does it, it's a pinch of sarcasm. Hartosh, would you like to come in?
I haven't...
Because this logic is eluding me. Can you make sense of what the distinction is?
No.
There is no distinction. I was even more astounded when the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson said that in fact we must encourage this practice, make it widespread and let voters actually collect as much money as they can because it's essentially their money. As I think it was the BJP spokesperson saying, then maybe that is the way to combat corruption, isn't it? Let everybody take bribes and not do the work, but let bribe taking spread all across the country. There is actually no difference between what Gadkari said and what Kejriwal said. Just because Kejriwal has said it does not make him immune. Gadkari couldn't take refuge in the fact that he was making a facetious statement, neither can Kejriwal. If the law applied to Gadkari, it will apply to Kejriwal. I don't see how it will differ in terms of the judgment passed on Kejriwal.
Absolutely. Answer that, Raghav.
See, Padmaja, I have not read Mr. Gadkari's statement, but please understand, my leader and my leaders have made this statement a number of times with the intent of exposing this electoral malpractice, with the intent of making sure that this malpractice, diminishes from the electoral scene in India. once the people.
I'm sorry, Raghav. You really
illicit money, or if
you know the logic that you're trying to drive home, there really isn't any substance to it. Sanjay Jha wants to respond. Sanjay Jha. And then Dr. Deepika Sharma.
You being a journalist,
Padmaja, I think the
don't get angry. Don't get angry. Ask should answer.
Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is the chief ministerial candidate of the Aam Aadmi Party. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has called himself as a game changer. He's branded himself as an outlier. I know there have been many wonderful, kind of statements attributed to him to give him this image of being the most self-righteous leader India has ever produced. But the bottom line is, now Mr. Chadha, I thought you wanted a civil debate. You're a young, passionate man, but please maintain that civility yourself. I won't take too long. The point I'm making, Padmaja, is when a chief ministerial candidate like Mr. Arvind Kejriwal lowers the political discourse, I think when he's telling people of Delhi, I mean, this is perhaps not just people of Delhi, I mean, in a television age, it's to the people of India at large, that, it's kosher to have people, take money for votes allegedly, as long as they vote for his party. I think that's clever by half. Extremely foul, and frankly, if he and his party doesn't condemn it, and then I think it's perhaps the most tragic moment in a new discourse where everybody is talking about India becoming more transparent and actually living by a Lokpal and an RTI, etc., etc. I think you're not just damaging
for someone who promised, who came with the promise of cleaning up politics, like this massive cleanup in Indian politics. It's doubly appalling that he would come up with a statement like this. Quick question to you from Dr. Deepika Sharma. Quick question to Raghav Chadha. Dr. Sharma.
Yeah, Padamja, I would like to ask them one thing, that why one after one, their every utterance and their every action is moving towards a big corruption, CORRUPTION. Why? I'll tell you instances right from the beginning itself. Number one is this, that during elections, during his campaigning last year, he had spoken the same statement, as well as he had taken Shunglu committee report in every nook and corner, their leader, and had said that I'll get Madam Sheila Dikshit ji arrested, Rajkumar Chauhan arrested within 2 days of coming to power. That never happened. He took support from the Congress party. Then they said that they are not going to take up a house, a Lal Batti, a VIP number, a big Gadi. But everything went U-turn.
Then, okay, let's not go into that.
Their mode of funding.
There seems to be a lowering of bar.
Raghav Chadha.
What are you trying to do, Raghav? Are you trying to lower the bar as far as elections are concerned? On the one hand, you say we're going to clean up politics altogether. On the other hand, you exhort voters, take as much money as comes your way. The two just don't seem to reconcile.
Padmaja,
these two ideas.
I can completely understand the frustration of the BJP spokesperson and the Congress spokesperson, because we are exposing this electoral malpractice that they follow, and this is the only premise on which this politics works. Now please understand,
Raghav Chadha,
please come on, relax.
You people have developed cold feet.
That the Aam Aadmi Party has always been, the Aam Aadmi Party has been at the forefront.
You wanted Madam Kiran Bedi.
has been at the forefront when it comes to fighting these electoral malpractices.
To be your chief minister candidate.
In 282 wards in Delhi.
Founder members,
set up teams in, ma'am, allow me to complete, please. We set up 282 teams in Delhi, which exposed with the help of spy cams, exposed this electoral malpractice of bribery.
To defend the
Point number two, when Mr. Kapil Sibal in the last parliamentary election was distributing water purifiers with his name and his party symbol, we were the first one to condemn it and expose it. Please understand, when it comes to
you have done a commendable job of exposing and talking about how electoral malpractices are taking place. Then why exhort the voters to take money?
It is political.
You've done commendable work in the past, given.
Mr. Kiran Bedi,
but how does that justify what you said today?
BJP has rattled Aam Aadmi Party.
I can totally understand if the BJP and the Congress missed the point, but you please try and understand. I mean, they would be they would.
We are also following. Don't worry. Everyone is following you also.
Mr. Raghav Chadha.
Aam Aadmi Party is encouraging corruption.
What are you trying
Aam
to
Aadmi
defend?
Party is encouraging corruption.
What are you trying to defend today? You are trying to defend open corruption. You are trying to defend open corruption in public life.
Hartosh Singh Bal, is this an example of how ultimately to fight the elections in a place like Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal maybe has just become more savvy. He himself has said that he's learned, with experience, how to deal with the kind of politics that happens in this country, which is why he's realized how practical politics is practiced. Hence the statement.
Well, I don't think the statement shows any savviness.
You
you don't stand up and say this in public and then defend it as your party's stance. I think it is creating an unnecessary controversy over an issue that has been raised so many times. We all know that every party, including the Aam Aadmi Party, has indulged in this practice. And for this party suddenly to stand up and say that they are different and claim at the same time that voters should take money is not going to wash. It's creating a controversy. It is diverting their campaign. It's going to make them answer questions. It's not very savvy at all. Kejriwal has this problem often. He does put his foot in his mouth sometimes at the wrong time in the wrong place. This is one of those instances.
All right, Sanjay Jha.
No, Padmaja, I just have one question for Mr. Bal.
You know, I think if you follow the statements made by Mr. Kejriwal over the last several years, you will find that the problem with Mr. Kejriwal is the arrogance. I think the arrogance personifies itself at multiple times. I find it, as I'm also a member of a political institution, and I find it extremely demeaning that Mr. Kejriwal and all the members of the Aam Aadmi Party tend to talk down to everybody else from any political entity. I think we are competitors in a space. We are trying to fight for electoral kind of trust and faith. Let's do it in a manner which is not, kind of inflicting a damage to the entire political fraternity itself. And he's not doing it in a fair manner. If somebody is wrong, establish evidence and go after them. Nobody's saying no.
There's been this holier than thou attitude about this air about the Aam Aadmi Party. Like, they've always said we're better than the party. The others, the whole thing which happened earlier, ki sare neta chor hain, hum saaf hai. We're the clean alternative. Just say, well, this is how it's going to be fought. We're all the same. Now we're going to fight you on an even ground. The kind of politics that everyone practices, that's what even we are going to do.
Now, Padmaja, please understand. An act of bribery is one in which if I am the bribe giver, I give the bribe and seek votes or benefits in return. That's an act of bribery. Here Mr. Kejriwal is saying, and I hate to explain this to
you
again
think
and again,
it's correct to take money from political parties?
Exposing the act of bribery.
Leave aside who they are going to vote for.
Why should he say go to Congress?
Do you think it's okay for a voter?
Why should he say go to offices? Why should Arvind Kejriwal say go to BJP office, Congress office and take money? Why should he say that? That means he is encouraging corruption.
Can you ask
They
this
are
person to
shamelessly
stop?
defending it.
Can you ask this person to stop? Can this
Yes.
stop?
Raghav, it's a yes or no answer. This question can get a yes or no answer. Is it okay for a voter to take money from a political party? Yes or no? Is it okay for a voter to take money?
Please understand, there are two reasons. So I am explaining you the
Don't
reasons.
put a
Please
caveat.
understand. Number one,
is it okay for a voter to take money from a political party before casting his or her
So
ballot?
illicit money should come to Aam Aadmi Party. Illicit money should come to Aam Aadmi Party.
Let him answer, Mr. Rajgopal.
Once the people do not get...
He is not answering the madam. He is not answering.
Do not get
He is not answering the question properly.
These goodies, the politician will realize the fact that this investment is not reaping benefits and this electoral malpractice will diminish. I am giving you two very valid reasons, and Padmaja, you are an experienced journalist. You know that this electoral malpractice is thriving in as far as Indian politics is concerned. And if you give me few seconds, please let me give you some figures that the Election Commission has released. Last time around, when during the Delhi Assembly elections, 1700 liters of country liquor was seized. 760 liters of IMFL was seized.
This is a criminal defense.
No, we know all of those. We know all of those statistics, Raghav. We know all of those statistics. But you still haven't answered my question. Do you think it's okay for a voter to take a bribe, to take money from a political party?
I just answered that, Padmaja. I gave you a couple of reasons. One of the reasons was that once the politician realizes that the person who has accepted the...
So you think as long as you don't vote for the person who's given you the money, it's okay?
He will discourage.
He's not
they
saying
will
yes
realize
or
that
no.
the investment is not reaping benefits. And number two, this is the money that the politician has, this is the money that the politician has accumulated by indulging in corrupt means. This is unaccounted money, which essentially is the people's money. And please understand, Mr. Kejriwal has said this with a pinch of sarcasm. All of us must understand sarcasm and the element of ridiculing this electoral malpractice in his entire statement. Please let us not blow this up out of proportion. Let us not try and project this as an offense.
All right, Sanjay Shah doesn't agree with you. Yes, Sanjay Shah.
You must ask your fellow panelists to please understand this in the right context.
Will never
I mean, you can go any statement out of context.
Governance is a very serious issue.
It's actually a practical solution which it seems the Aam Aadmi Party has come up with, Sanjay Jha, that if you have money which is taken away from the poor, it's going to return to them just before elections in the form of these inducements. Makes sense. Does it make sense to you?
Well, I'll tell you, Padmaja, if you follow Arvind Kejriwal and his party, for them it's a time-tested formula to make corruption into an issue, because he knows that it is an emotional subject in India, it's a systemic challenge in India, and it appeals to the basic raw instinct of every individual in the country. So he doesn't care about the system, the Lokpal or the independence of the CBI. He's not getting into issues at all. He's just trying to appeal to the basic instinct because he's only interested in winning the election at any cost. I'm telling you that for him, the whole election right now till February 7th is about trying to win the vote. He will be politically desperate. He will make all kinds of wild allegations. He's not actually contributing to the debate whatsoever. I think the kind of statement that is made today, running down the entire that means all political guys who are fighting this election, men and women who are contesting the election in Delhi, now have a aspersion cast on them that they are foul. And I'm sure from all parties there are some very, very good candidates out there trying to fight it out in the bitter cold of Delhi, trying to win an election. It's a very, very tough electoral process.
So if every other party in the fray, Raghav Chadha, is giving these bribes, how are you any better if you're urging the voters to take these bribes? You're the same.
Sanjay Jha, you put it very clearly. Aam Aadmi Party should answer that.
Just to give a quick answer to Mr. Jha.
Sanjay Jha's question should be answered.
Answer to Mr. Jha. It is, Mr. Jha, many people from the BJP as well as the Congress were caught on camera last time around during the Delhi elections while distributing liquor and cash and soliciting votes. So please try and understand that if, you may use phrases like holier than thou, but
I thought many people from your party were found doing something extremely illegal.
But the people from the BJP and the Congress have indulged in this. No, okay, even if you bring one evidence, even if you are able to bring one evidence, then I will concede my point. But
no, and that we have acknowledged that no party can afford to be smug as far as this is concerned. Yes, there is a free flow of money and liquor ahead of elections. No party can say they are above board when it comes to that. That has been acknowledged because Sanjay Jha, also WikiLeaks cable, which was dispatched in 2009, spoke about how the son of a former union minister actually spoke to an American diplomat about how in Tamil Nadu, 5,000 rupees was slipped into newspapers ahead of the elections and given to voters. And this was being done by the DMK and Congress. It's in a WikiLeaks cable. So yes, every party is doing it. It's perhaps one of the worst kept secrets. But final word to Hartosh Singh Bal. Do you think, Hartosh, it amounts to a violation of model code of conduct? Are you anticipating action from the Election Commission?
Look, that the action that the EC takes will... whatever the EC decides depends on the EC, but they've taken note of it. As far as I can see, there is no material difference between what Nitin Gadkari said and what Arvind Kejriwal said. Both are saying exactly the same thing. Take the money, but vote for us. Whoever is offering the money, or quoted whoever is offering the liquor, money, whatever the case may be, but vote for us. Whether you call it sarcasm, whether you call it exposing electoral malpractices, it amounts to the same thing. So unless the Aam Aadmi Party is claiming that the EC was wrong to act against Nitin Gadkari, I don't see what defense they can offer.
Are you claiming that, Raghav Chadha?
No. As far as the action by the Election Commission is concerned, if and when the server notice will, give an adequate reply, we are not afraid of notices. Now, as far as the point raised by Mr. Jha is concerned, it is not that every politician or every candidate indulges. No, I gave you an extremely simple answer that if and when a notice is issued, we'll reply adequately. Now.
No, that is not my question. My question is pretty simple. Do you agree with the EC's action against Nitin Gadkari?
Well, so Mr. Bal, I have not read the exact statement made by Mr. Gadkari. So if I were to
your party seems to know everything about Mr. Gadkari, but this
statement or compare it with Mr. Bal's statement. No. This is precisely what I'm saying, that if the Election Commission wants to serve a notice, they are free to do it. We'll reply adequately. Now, as far as the statement raised by Mr. Jha is concerned, I am not blaming that every contestant or every candidate in Delhi indulges in this malpractice, but there is evidence on record to show that only politicians from the BJP and Congress, as far as electoral politics in Delhi is concerned, have indulged in this. No member or no candidate of my party has ever been found guilty. We have fought,
in fact, Raghav Chadha, it will interest you, since you don't know the details of what happened in the entire Mr. Gadkari episode. Let me tell you what's interesting is that not only what Arvind Kejriwal is a direct reflection of what Mr. Gadkari said, but his response, Mr. Gadkari's response, was also exactly what you're giving today. His reply to the Election Commission was, what I said was meant in good humor and only intended to expose what actually happens ahead of elections, where money is used to induce voters. The Election Commission was not amused. They said very clearly that telling voters to accept bribes on offer before deciding how to vote is not a valid argument at all. So let's see if the Election Commission acts in this particular case, because the two episodes don't seem very different.
Will also be BJP's reply to Election Commission. Simple.
Padmaja, please understand. For the last 67 years, both the BJP and the Congress have been soliciting votes on these grounds and duping the voters. We are essentially, enlightening them, making them aware of the fact that this electoral malpractice will be repeated.
Then where is Lokpal? Where is Jan Lokpal?
Okay, let's see if that excuse actually washes with the EC. Raghav Chadha, you put up a spirited defense. However, when Mr. Gadkari said the same thing, you were not convinced at all. Anyhow, so let the matter rest over here. For now, thank you very much, Raghav Chadha, Hartosh Singh Bal, Sanjay Jha, Dr. Sharma and Mr. Rajgopalan for joining us on this debate on the Sunday night.